of that, grew a little embarrassed and sat back down, but she could not restrain herself from talking to everyone around her. She just filled with some kind of explosive learning or excitement. And she had positive energy. You could see it in her eyes and her gestures, her body language. I could hardly wait for the break to get up to her. What happened to you? Oh, you have no idea what that principle, that habit of being proactive means to me. I'm the full-time nurse to the most miserable, ungrateful character you can imagine. He doesn't even acknowledge me, let alone show any form of appreciation. The other full-time nurses feel just like I do. We almost sit around and talk about his demise. Hope for it, wish for it. While we're taking care of him. And for you to have the gall to suggest that I chose to be miserable? Come on. I didn't choose it. He made me. But then I realized how dependent I am. How I've given my power to his miserable behavior. He said, as soon as I swallowed that big, thick, bitter pill, and it hit, and I realized, wait a minute, if I chose to be miserable, I can choose otherwise. He said, I was let out of prison. I was liberated. That's when I stood up and wanted to talk to everyone. I wanted to proclaim my freedom. I could not contain myself. I just can't tell you what that means. Between what happens to us, the stimulus, and our response to the stimulus lies our freedom. Behavior and our actions flow from our paradigm. Deterministic psychology tends to break out into three areas, three fields. Genetic determinism, psychic determinism, environmental determinism. Genetic determinism basically means your grandparents did it to you. Well, I have a short fuse. It just seems to go through generations. My father has one, and his father. Yeah, I'm a night person. Yeah, whole family is. Don't talk to me in the morning. I'm not pleasant. This has come to the generations. You see, what if I had a predisposition because of my genetic makeup? Okay? That is the stimulus. Between that and our response to it is our freedom to choose our response. So what would we do? We'd adopt a lifestyle so that it didn't activate that genetic tendency, so that our lives were not made dysfunctional from it. Now, this isn't to say that we are not genetically powerfully influenced. It is to say that we are not genetically determined. And the difference between being influenced by and determined by is 180 degrees. Psychic determinism means your parents did it to you, not your grandparents. It didn't come through the DNA necessarily, the chromosomal structure of the DNA. Your parents did it to you, the way they raised you. Very Freudian. Child is father to the man. That means the first few years of childhood, how you were treated and raised, how you were rejected, how you developed deep psychic wounds from those abuses of one kind or another, so conditioned your emotional makeup, your personality, as to last a lifetime. The child is father to the man. And many have heard, once you're 6, 7, 8, that's it. Pretty much in concrete. There's not much you can do. Psychic determinism. No question those forces powerfully influence us. In fact, for the first several years of life, until the time of self-awareness around 7, 8, 9 years old, there is no separation between stimulus and response. So that whatever stimulus went in here went right into the response. And the psychic scarring is there. The genetic tendencies are there. As soon as self-awareness begins to take place, there's a separation. This space, this freedom and power to choose. Then those tendencies are still there. So we're powerfully influenced by genetic and psychic forces. They're there. But we still have this space. We could behave in ways that might even possibly erase these. Or if not erase them, subordinate them. Eclipse them. Render them non-functional. They still may be there to some degree. Possibly, it could be erased through different kinds of therapies. The point is, you still have this freedom to choose. Even if it's not much, work on it. This whole idea of I am a product of something, instead of I am the programmer that chooses my response to that product. Environmental determinism basically means that your spouse is doing it to you. Your boss is doing it to you. Your culture is doing it to you. Environmental determinism embraces the whole concept of external cultural influences. Again, without any question, we're influenced by those factors. Need to be factored in, but not determined. That's why habit 1 is the habit of personal vision. You can choose your response by the exercise of that freedom, that power to choose, the highest of the powers. In that space are 4 human endowments: self-awareness, imagination, conscience,